Next, I'd like to introduce a very important guest, a survivor of violence who will speak about how this research relates to her experiences. Please welcome Kristy McKellar.
Thank you, Luke. I wish to acknowledge Vic Health for the privilege of being the voice for victim survivors today. Victim survivors demonstrate immense courage. When silence is so very inviting, they step forward and share their truth so others know that they are not alone, and so they can influence change. I was a victim of unspeakable cruelty, experiencing repeated forms of abuse. I was fortunate to not be that one woman who is killed every week by their current or former partner. I should never have had to fear violence or be violated in any way. Just because I survived this does not mean that this was ever okay. The National Community Attitudes Survey has provided a platform for exposing attitudes, creating conversation, education, and implementing change. Victim survivors relive every word, every hurt, and every moment. The fear stays, and the words still go unspoken. The damage is irreversible and forever lasting for the victim and for their loved ones. Improvements in attitudes towards violence against women and gender roles contributes to restoring confidence for victim survivors that we are moving in the right direction. It is reassuring to hear that overall we do not endorse attitudes that support violence. It is validating that community attitudes view partner violence and sexual assault in relationships as serious and against the law, as I experienced a breach of trust, my perpetrator being my own husband. Knowing the devastating impacts of family violence, it is disappointing that violence against women is still being accepted, justified, overlooked, or excused. Attitudes that support violent behaviours enable a community to exist that holds a distorted sense of right and wrong, and an unhealthy value system, which is nothing short of terrifying. Half of our population still think that most women could leave a violent relationship if they wanted to. Why didn't you just leave? This is one of the most painful questions you could ever pose to a victim. I had never known violence could exist in a man before this experience. In the beginning, I was not able to define I was even being abused. To hold a secret of this kind is soul-destroying. Being tormented behind closed doors and have it disguised as love is inhumane. It is the last place you expect to find violence, and you just try to survive. I could see no way out, and I thought, this is my life. There are repeated promises for reform, but these promises are empty. You feel ashamed, alone, and paralysed by fear and serious threats. Little did I know that this was my perpetrator's shame to carry, not mine. It is incredibly dangerous to leave an abuser. The final step in the pattern can be escalations of assault or even death. What I will never experience again will be a life where I dress to cover my bruises, remain silent, be embarrassed or frightened. Therefore, for us as a community to still tolerate these attitudes is incredibly dangerous, and it supports significant consequences. Together, we have the power to create change and promote equal and respectful relationships. To challenge these perspectives, make people stop and think about the impact their words and actions have. It is everybody's business. Victims' violent experiences need to be validated, they need to be recognised, and they need to be respected. Violence is a choice, and it is never acceptable. Regardless of which walk of life you are from, these facts are universally correct. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kristy. I think after a lot of talk about stats and facts and figures and attitudes, it's very beneficial and helpful for us all to put, the personal face to it and the personal story to it. So thanks very much, Kristy. Finally, I would like to introduce Ken Lay, the Chief Commissioner of Victoria Police, who, as we all know, has been an amazing advocate for women and ending violence over the past couple of years. So please welcome Ken Lay.
Thanks, Luke, and thanks everyone for that very, very warm welcome. Luke started today with a football story, so I'm going to start with my football story. It's not nearly as impressive as Luke's, I might say. But back in 1972, I was playing on a football ground in Druin in West Gippsland against Luke's dad, Kevin. Now, I must say Kevin was a much better footballer than me, but I was sitting down there thinking, all those years ago, how we could ever imagine that I'd be sharing a stage with you, Luke. I think your dad would be enormously proud of what you've achieved, the message you've sent to the community, and anyone that had the opportunity to read the op-ed in the Herald Sun today, Luke gets it. And Luke is a very, very important part of us reaching to men in our community about the importance of respect and treating women with dignity. So congratulations, Luke. All power to you, and keep working very, very hard for us. Gerald, to you, Gerald, Vic Health has a long history of keeping Victorians safe, and today we're seeing another example of that. So, Gerald, congratulations to you and your team. Another quality piece of work to help keep our community safe. Michaelia, Senator Cash, sometimes working in the family violence space, it can be enormously frustrating, it can be sad, it can be difficult. Never underestimate how important good, strong political leadership is for us. Unless we get that, we don't get the changes we need. So I'm greatly heartened by your support, your compassion and your passion for this space. So again, I salute you for your work. And finally, to Kristy, thank you for that wonderful presentation. Once again, you've reminded me why I do what I do. So congratulations, a wonderful, wonderful job today. Well done.